Um, okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jason. So welcome to coming together to build exceptional products through the product matrix maps. A little bit about me. I'm a product designer, UX designer at PayPal. I'm focused on more like authentication and the digital ID experience at PayPal. So besides working at PayPal, also working for User Experience Professional Association at Austin. So also AD released mentor, really interested and passionate about digital experience. I also really like to cook as well. So right. So today, my main questions is just like how do different type of people actually come together to work solve a problem in a big tech and fast-paced environment as a product designer. So as a designer, I actually used to believe that responsibility for coming up with brilliant ideas, making wise decision is my own responsibility. But as I gain more experience, I came to realize that product design is more like a relay race, right? A collaboration and strategy planning play a really important role in achieving success. So by working together as a team and focus on the smart product strategy, we actually can create a better solution that generally meet the need of the user. So as I mentioned, the product design is more like a relay race. So let's just picture a relay race, right? This is what I always experience every single week, right? When my product partner and my engineer partner actually provide all this idea to my design team and my content team, we all would just like start work on this idea, and after working this idea, we just pass it back to the product engineer team. So we do this every single week, but actually, this kind of create problems, right? And sometimes we also actually think about we are actually in the product we actually in a road trip together. So product design, engineer leadership, we all actually coming together, work together to actually drive a success customer user experience goal. So what I define product development is really a journey for everyone to come and work together. So the problem is for designers, we always think about this: what is the best way, right? What is the most efficient way and user-friendly way to get to the destination? We care about the customer experience. For the product partners, I always feel like they care about whether this can be deliverable on time. They care about more like how we can better, deliver these products on time. How we can utilize all the resources to get the destination we want. And for my engineer partner, they think about more about whether this product can be achievable, can be doable. The more be realistic and to ask you more questions related to whether this can be achieved, not just through a design, but also through a technical perspective. So this actually bring a lot problem is we got a lot of idea push from product side, and sometimes we get into a meeting. It can be really inefficient. Sometimes I involve meeting with 30 or 40 engineering product managers. We talk about 1 hours, and then after that we have no idea what is going on. We don't have any agreement, and then we less efficient to work together. And sometimes we don't have any data or any resource to support this idea. So basically, it's really hard to reach agreement together. So this current problem is how we can achieve our goal collaboratively when everyone has a different perspective and idea. More important is how we can, work more efficient to make a decision more easily and working toward in a great direction for our products. So then I start, working and came up with some tools to help our team to, bring more efficient work together. The one of the two is the product matrix maps. So for product manager, the goal is to create a product that meet needs of the customer and drive the success of business. To achieve this goal, need to focus on the matrix that matter the most of the products. That's where the product matrix maps come in. The product matrix map is a tool that help us identify and prioritize the most critical matrix for our products. It's provide a virtual representation of the most important matrix to help the team to prioritize the effort based on the impact of each matrix has on the products. So what I came up with the idea is not just from a design and engineer perspective. Actually, it's also coming from like product and customer experience. So the one you see in here is we as designers we care about more on like whether we can design the features is nice to have and also definitely have to meet a need to have. So can be different based on your business need. Sometimes, for example, we're designing a features for with phase one. We probably just want to set a goal, then design the features need to have, and also a low effort. So the quadrant two probably the best way we put a goal into that. But sometimes, when we moving on and improve the idea, improve the design, optimize the design, we want to design a feature more toward to a nice to have and also keeping a low efforts. So can be customized based on what's your business goal and what's your product you're actually working on. And for the customer experience, we definitely want to find the matrix that focus on the customer experience, right? Design a feature that have to be necessary for customer, right? And also want to make sure our user use the products is they're spend a less of time, right? They use low effort to accomplish the goal. And for product part is, of course, the product partner, they care about outcome, they care about the high KPI, and they also want to spend the less time to achieve the deliverable. So that's the goal they're seeking for. So we always bring this three dimension to the on the table to discuss all together, which is really important, right? So the five steps you can do it is just first, identify the problems for the key matrix and the key matrix. What is the problems we are trying to solve and what's goal we actually want to achieve? Step two is evaluate the impact, right? From the design perspective, product perspective, and engineer perspective, we want to make sure what is the product outcome and what's the impact this product can make, right? The step three is assess the effort for the requirement, right? Design effort, engineer effort, and product effort, it may differ. So we want to make sure the matrix can be clear and easily represent all this effort together, right? Step four is you actually start putting this idea into this metric, power this metrics, and process all the works using the metrics. So this example I used to use with the team. So for example, this is the goal I have, right, for the products part. We actually want to find we actually putting all this together into a product perspective, right? What features we think can be a really high impact and actually less time everyone products for this. So this is example like we used to work for verification flow. So we want to make sure user can verify the ID easily. So we are thinking about a lot of ideas how we can improve the experience. So this is the one idea like a lot of product partner bring us couple we add a progress bar to that, but for design perspective, it's maybe a little bit time consuming and is take so much time for engineers side to work on. So that's why we use this idea to keep products, keep iterating this idea in order to find the best goal we actually want to achieve. From the customer perspective, we always also think about whether the feature we design is actually need for the customer's need, right? Whether they feel like whether the customer feel like this is something they actually need. We always bring the usability testing data, rapid research data to actually help us process the matrix for the customer perspective. So, oops. Okay, so the one another one I want to bring this is the design roadmap. So I think when we get a product matrix, when we have this exercise together, it's really important. We get outcome, but how we can track this data together, right? So I always believe every designer need a roadmap to keep tracking the task. So this is what I created for myself to use. So I bring this goal together into a roadmap, and then I separate this into different phases, right? For this idea, it just for more like a discovery phase, I put this like discovery phase. If this idea I keep working on to a design phase, a product testing phase, I'm moving this idea moving forward, put this idea moving forward. So I can keep tracking my progress and also keep update to my product manager and what is going on for this project. So we are not losing the idea, but also we keep iterating the new ideas into the table. So why we need a design robot? Like what I said, we need a better products to test together. We need to find a way to enhance the communication and keep tracking the progress and in order to better help a designer to achieve the success and bring that to the product and the engineer part as well. The last one kind of want to talk about is the communication strategy, right? We got a product matrix map. We designer, we got like a design roadmap. The most important is working together is how we communicate together, right? Because we all have a different perspective. How we actually work together is really, really important. So communication actually, is take more than 80% of my workflow daily. So I communicate with my different stakeholder every day, every week. I think this is really important to focus on, not just like having a tool to use, but how you can actually present your idea, share your idea to your stakeholders is all actually involves some technique into that as well. So definitely the first tip I want to share is definitely you have to trust with your product partners, right? Definitely have to trust with your engineering partners, with your all the other stakeholders. Trust is really important, right? Because we know everyone has a different perspective. People share their ideas. People can make a disagreement, but you must trust your design team. You must trust your product team and engineering team. They can do the works in their best domain, in the domain of their best. The next is make sure you ask, you clarify a problem you're trying to solve. Sometimes, when we work on those ideas, uh, some people are actually afraid to answer questions in the team. They feel like this is something the product partner said, this is something engineer said, we have to follow that. But sometimes without understand what is the core problem we are solving, this is actually in turn to a problem. Is like for my perspective is if I don't know what is the core problem, I may design a feature not really solve the problems. So ask and clarify problems are actually really important in the whole products matrix planning or product communication phase as well. So here's we actually you can get started, right? So this is basically what I get. I can use have a lot of conversation with my product partners like, hey, we got an idea, we want to share with you. Can you do this? I used to say, okay, yes, let's do it, right? I started working on design, I started working on low fidelity prototype, start doing testing, but eventually found out, okay, this is not something like I like to move on. It is something not really help us achieve our business goal. So for new way, you can actually talk to the product partner, say, okay, how about we do a quick exercise section to work on this kind of product matrix exercise, so we can actually better understand what is the goal we're trying to solve and what is the problem we're trying to solve. And also you can involve with your engineer partner as well. But in this process, the engineer team may give you a lot of feedback and say, okay, can you do more of that? Can you iterate more about this idea? I would say this is pretty normal because you may not be able to get to a goal easily. That's why keep iterate the idea is really, really important when you come into when you come work with other people's, in the team. So here is the strategy I'm trying to summarize for this conversation is first, make sure you ask evidence to support decision making, right? No matter use product matrix map, you matter use other tools you guys work together. Make sure you have data to support this idea, right? You have the research data, you have the engineer data. It can really help you to make a better decision. Second is to utilize use those tools to find direction together, right? I used to have more than 10 meetings a week, right? Just talk about one problems, right? Right now, if I use one those kind of two, I probably can solve the 10 problems in one meetings. So that's it's really important for all the people to try and experience for it. Another one is to make sure you keep iterating your ideas, right? The idea is definitely need the time to iterate, right? Need time to think. You may have this idea, but later on you may have more idea coming through, or you may keep improving this idea. So that's why I think the better experience is just like you have to keep involving those technique with your team. um, Finally, I will see, a good strategy, right, plus good collaboration tool is really equal to efficient works. As I mentioned, I used to have like, more than 10 meetings a day. But sometimes, when I start using this kind of tool, I really can increase the efficiency working with my product, working with some engineering partners. I think it's really, really great that I feel like my goal get more clearly and I got data support. I also make sure my idea can be efficiently present to my engineer, product partner, and other stakeholders as well. So that's the key piece for this topic is not just focus on working on those two, but also focus on how you actually use this to keep track the progress and to keep your teams motivate your team to toward a good business strategy. So this a bit is about the product matrix map and also a couple of tips I'd love to share to you all to help you guys increase the working efficiency with your product partner with your other stakeholders. Yeah, thank you very much. Waiting to get any questions if you guys have. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much for sharing. It was really, it's definitely a lot better than the graphical kind of presentation that I can do. So it shows that you're a designer because I loved the transitions and the way of, and it also communicated the message that you were trying to get across.
Yeah, of course.
So just a reminder, if you have any questions, so I saw that Carlos messaged in just before we ran out of time asking for the slides from the last talk. So we'll chase those up and we'll share those with you once we can. But if you have any questions for Jason, please do write them in whichever platform you're in and we'll put those through to Jason. I'm going to kick it off though, because there was one question, particularly with those maps at the start that you were sharing of the kind of cost benefit kind of weighing
Yes.
up. One of the challenges I've always found is it's quite easy to convince ourselves that there is a benefit somewhere where there might not be, or to convince ourselves that, oh, this could be quite easy to build, and then it turns out not to be. So do you do anything where you go back and you validate to try see, are we actually being accurate with our upfront estimates?
Yes, always. I think the two is really important, but sometimes we still, come this idea from our own perspective, right? This is something like I think is really gonna increase a lot for our user experience. But eventually, we feel like this is something like we less data support. So I always bring like the user testing data, our user research into these conversations as well because they have those data to support my design decision. And then I can bring this idea to my product partner, to my engineer partners, and then they know that okay, I give you guys the idea. It's not just based on my own perspective. It's based on the really data validation, user testing, rapid research. So they have idea. Okay, this is something already being validated, so we can consider more, or we can actually take more seriously about it. So that's all. Also involves so much more communication in between different cross-functional team. But that's what I like using this tool because it's all actually helping you pushing your idea forward. So it's not just like a single idea anymore. It's make sure your ideas can make sense and also can be better to make other people to hear from you.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm gonna put in the question that I've seen experienced many times because I love that answer of go with the data, go with what the customer is saying. But have you experienced the position where somebody just comes with the idea and you would love, like I know speaking to a lot of designers, they would love some time, or researchers, can I just go validate that? Can I do whatever? And as you were saying, like get that clarity of what it is that we're trying to build. But the answer is, oh, this is a sure thing. It's definitely right. Just go ahead and build it. So have you had that experience and how do you handle that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's basically happening every week. We got this idea, not just from the product side, research as well. Say, okay, this is the data we have. I think this is a really good way we can do it. I think it's always a balance, right? You, as a product designers, right? You come with this idea from all these people's, right? Your team, other people's, other stakeholders as well. I think the most important thing is you, as designer, you have to understand what is the core problem you are solving for, right? And use those data to support this idea to you, right? And you feel like maybe sometimes we do user testing, we do the rapid research, right? We get the data, but we feel like we want to test more, right? We feel like this data cannot really support me to go really moving forward all this idea together. So let's maybe just do phase one, right? Let's just do one by one, right? Phase one, let's design a little bit for this, and then do another testing to make sure, okay, this is something like we really want to go for, right? So, that's what I always like to do. It's just like I agree with you. Yes, of course, it's a good idea, but not let's just not taking like really forward to moving this idea for like not another a whole sprint, right? Let's just do one by one. Like let's separate this idea to a phase one, phase two, or phase three. Let's do test it. Maybe during the phase two or phase three, okay, you found the problem is is different than what you actually found in phase one. So you have to keep iterating this idea. So I think that's always the questions for everybody, just like how you can balance this idea and make sure the idea can fit what you need and also fit the business goal. So I think that's really really important as well. Yeah.
Great, and I'm just going to keep throwing the tough questions at you because I think like I'm fully on board with exactly what you said. That kind of let's iterate, let's try something small, let's validate, and
Right.
then
Exactly.
invest. Have you ever encountered, just again back to that product UX dev or product design dev, um, some people are just, let's stop with this, it's inefficient, it's really slow, it costs too much, just tell me what we need to build, and I don't want like that uber expensive or perceived expensive testing, so just give me the full spec because it's too long and inefficient to go through these steps. And then what did you do?
Uh, yeah, I would say this is happening a lot. The really really inefficient meeting, really efficient communication decks. Every single time I receive a lot of like the PowerPoint from my product, I couldn't be able to understand what is actually going on because they put so much data, so much numbers that it's so hard to decompress and really understand what's the core problem. So I think that's just kind of the skill I would encourage all the designer to do more. It's just like not only you are a designer but also think through the data, right? Analyze the data, analyze all this conversation to prove yourself in a spot like uh, at sometimes you have to be a product, you have to be a product manager, you have to help your product manager to get this perspective going on. So focus on the things just matters the most, right? Sometimes you do got a lot of inefficiency meeting. Ask yourself, do you actually need to go to this meeting? Do you actually need to have this conversation with the product owner? Or you can use better tool like what I share to reiterate this idea to work with other people's. So I think that's super super important. Not just focus on, okay, I'm a designer, I'm a UX designer, I just focus on user experience, right? That's just something is, if you want to make it really inefficient, you just work on your own real. But sometimes for me, I have to keep thinking for, okay, if I'm product manager, how do I fix this problem? How do I make sure I deliver this efficient to my team? So switch the perspective and understand what actually you need to achieve is a key, I would say. Yeah, during this especially fast paced tech environment. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fantastic answer. And I think I love the way your presentation kind of continued in my mind from Swapna's, where it's kind of, is it product, is it marketing, is it sales? But no, it's collaboration. I always find that there's never really one kind of soul running, and that's the same with the product design and dev. It's the collaboration that really counts. So
Exactly.
uh, yeah, sorry, did you were you going to
No,
say?
no, no. I'm just like agree with you. Yeah.
Great. Well, I think unless anybody has other questions, I see Carlos is just saying thanks. But if there's no other questions, I might just say thank you very much for sharing your insights.
Yeah, of course. Really love to share this to the UXDX. Yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate all everybody's time. Yeah.